Yeah.
There's a lot of apartments and flats like that. All the houses I bought like that.
Podcast going. Johnnie Vic, how's it going, man?
Yeah, nothing weird going on.
First podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure. Did you not get the memo about the merch? No Mercedes merch. We can't be biased.
Well, I
people
mean,
are going to think we love Hamilton.
I mean, I do.
Well, exactly. We don't want people knowing that.
Fine.
Get rid of the shirt. Actually, no, keep the shirt on. Don't take the shirt. It's a Mercedes shirt. Come on, Mercedes coat, Mercedes hat, Mercedes.
I mean,
No.
what can I say? I'm biased towards Lewis.
That is Johnnie Vic. Johnnie Vic.
Juan Vico.
We're both doing broadcasting at a university in London.
Don't need to know which one.
You don't need to know which one. We don't want you turning up. We're here to talk about the Australian Grand Prix. Firstly, before we get started, Charlie Whiting, the race director from the FIA, sadly passed away in the early hours of Friday morning. Huge loss for F1.
Definitely, yeah. It was out of nowhere. I remember I was sat just, I think I was up for some reason. I was awake and just got a text from my dad just saying he had passed away, and I was honestly shocked by it. Just
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, speechless, honestly.
And it was a weird lung problem or something, wasn't it? It was.
There's a pulmonary embolism, so it's a sort of it can sort of happen from just anything really. It could just hit anyone at any time if you don't get enough exercise.
So crazy. It was and they've had to find someone to replace him actually. So God knows what they're going to do going forward.
But, they're still searching now, aren't they? Because they haven't.
Yeah.
They've had to use some stand-in for.
He is an irreplaceable figure because he was, not only did he press the button to do the lights, he was also like the driver's man. Like they go to him and he ran the whole show basically.
Yeah. The drivers loved him as well. Like he was a beloved character.
Yeah. We're going to skip past free practice because we know what happens. Testing happens. Hamilton will say, "Oh, we're 7 tenths behind Ferrari." We get to Melbourne.
They're so much quicker.
They're about a second quicker than in practice. So not a lot happened in practice. I think Mercedes were 1-2 both sessions.
I think so. Yeah. First 1 and 2. I think.
Yeah, and then third practice was different. I think.
The Red Bulls were suddenly up there, but still, I think Hamilton topped the timesheets on all three. Yeah. I think.
And in terms of qualifying, there was actually quite a few shocks in qualifying. With Carlos Sainz getting held up behind Robert Kubica. I think Robert Kubica ran wide and touched the wall, and he had a puncture. And obviously Sainz was on a fast lap and he was coming behind him. He got held up. Might have even got pushed wide, I'm not sure. And that was his lap gone, so he was out. 2 Williams went out, and the Williams are so far off the pace. That wasn't a surprise
at all.
There's been a lot of weird activity happening at Williams. It's quite sad to see.
I was reading something, George Russell apparently was saying that they're not, like they know what they need to fix and they know how they can fix it, but it's nothing that they can do before the next race. They're gonna be at the back of the pack until probably about like the mid, the summer break, and that's when they can do the changes and all that. So hoping, fingers crossed that they can do something after the summer break, because it's Williams. They're one of the most historic teams in Formula One.
Absolutely. If you roll back, 3-4 years, probably 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
I think it was Austria or something. They were getting pole positions. They were always on the podium. They were
they were third, possibly third best team at the time.
It was crazy, but hopefully they return, because George Russell is a good driver, and obviously Kubica's story. In 2010 he had that crash.
Yeah, 2010 I think. Yeah, had the
or
crash.
2011 or something. He had a crash in a rally accident.
Almost lost his life from it. Yeah.
Almost lost his whole arm, I think, and his wrist. It was
one
of the best sporting comebacks of all time, I think.
Really glad he is back. I mean, if he had come back in the Renault that they were talking about last year or something, I mean, that would have been good, but how would that work out now? You would be out of the sport again now. That's the problem.
So joining the two Williams, Carlos Sainz in the Renault, Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull.
McLaren, are they Renault? Yeah, they're Renault, aren't they?
Carlos Sainz in the McLaren.
Yeah, are they Renault? Because you said in the Renault.
Did I say Renault?
Yeah.
We'll edit that out. I meant McLaren.
I mean, yeah, technically you're right.
We can roll with
McLaren
that.
Renault.
See, no one's actually going to watch this, so they won't actually notice.
Even Adam's not watching.
Our cameraman isn't even watching. So this is how interesting our podcast is, which is meant to be aimed at slightly younger fans. So joining the two Williams, we have Carlos Sainz in the McLaren and Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull out in the first qualifying session, starting 17th. That is pretty shocking for your debut in F1 in the Red Bull.
Not a great debut for him. It was a qualifying session full of some surprises, but that was definitely for me the biggest one. I mean, him going out in the Red Bull. Out of everything that happened in qualifying, I'd say he was definitely the biggest shocker. Him going out in Q1. I mean, it's difficult when you go into a new car, but you still expect in one of the arguably top 3 cars to be getting comfortably into Q3. So for him to go out Q1 and not even close, 0.3 seconds from Kvyat, who was 15th in that.
I feel bad for him because I met him at the Race of Champions in Mexico. Really nice guy. I'm not just saying that; he's generally a really nice guy. And he was spent loads of time with us. I think we filmed a video which no one's ever going to see. Red Bull. I've still got the files, but I can't do anything with them. He made a comment about something which we can't talk about. I'll tell you off camera. That's why it got dropped apparently. But he's a really nice guy, and he was saying he felt really confident with Red Bull. Obviously, he's a Red Bull junior driver, so I don't know whether that disadvantages him slightly, because he's been so comfortable in the junior team. Maybe at Toro Rosso, I don't know. Maybe that's not an excuse. But he went to Red Bull, clearly top 3 team. They should be getting into Q3, and you look at Verstappen, he obviously got to Q3. So, in that respect, that was underperformance from him. And then I think the reason why he got knocked out was track evolution. Obviously, the track was getting faster and faster. I'm not sure whether there was rain or something on the Friday. I'm not sure. I think it was a dry weekend.
I think it was completely dry weekend.
But it's weird how the track got faster and faster. Obviously, the more times you went round, it was quicker. And he was sat in the pit lane because he put a lap in. Thought that's good enough. I'll stay in the pits. Turned out to be quite a bad decision, didn't it? So in terms of the race start, the race start was actually quite spicy, wasn't it? It was a spicy race start because we had Bottas off the line. It was Hamilton, then Bottas, then Vettel in qualifying.
Bottas set off like a rocket.
Absolutely. Bottas had a great start. He was alongside Hamilton, took the lead. Whilst that was happening, in the background we have Ricciardo, home Grand Prix, first race with Renault. Expectations are high. He was only 11th in qualifying or 12th?
12th in qualifying, yeah.
Didn't make. Both Renaults didn't make the final qualifying session.
Yeah, that was a weird one as well. They didn't make it, and then you had Kimi in the Alpha, and Lando Norris especially with the McLaren.
Lando Norris was definitely a highlight in qualifying on his debut.
Yeah. Race not so much.
Especially with his teammate who is only, Carlos Sainz is 24, 25. He's that young, but he's still an experienced head. You expect him to get the better of Lando Norris.
And he couldn't even get out of Q1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of the race start, though, Bottas absolutely flying off the line.
He's got I think he's got the best reactions on the grid. I mean, the man's brilliant. I mean, I was saying when I was watching it, the lights went out really quick.
I think I sent you a message because we were watching it at the same time. I think it was 10 past 5 in the morning.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And I sent you a message and I was like, is it my internet or is the lights coming out really quickly? Because I swear the lights came on and then all of a sudden, as soon as the 5th one came on, they just went out. And I felt like that caught Hamilton napping a little bit.
Yeah.
Bottas.
Because it usually hangs a little bit, doesn't it? It has a little bit of hang and then they go Bottas. I mean, remember from, Austria?
Yeah.
About 2 years ago.
0.2 of a second, his reaction time.
Amazing, yeah.
That was ridiculous. And then Ricciardo at the back, first home race with Renault. I think it was side by side with the Force India or Williams or something.
At his start, riding on board as he tries to make a move.
I think it was a Force India of Perez. Oh, wait, do we call them Force India or Racing Point now?
Racing Point. We'll call
They're
it.
technically Racing Point, aren't they? But
Force India. Oh yeah, I said Force India, didn't I?
yeah, I mean it's confusing. There's two new names, isn't there? Because it's not Sauber anymore. They have to be Alfa Romeo.
Romeo, yeah. I've called them Sauber, I think.
I don't think it really matters too much. I think everyone knows.
I think everyone knows. So yeah, Ricciardo goes over a drain. I think he got forced onto the grass. He hits a drain cover and off comes the front wing. I think you can hear the crowd as well, like, oh no. Yeah. Because literally, I think it was 340,000 the attendance this weekend.
So, yeah, it's not mad.
One of the biggest attendances since 2005, I believe, in Australia. And they're all there to see him. Am I boring you?
Yeah, a little bit.
They're all there to see him. His front wing flies off. He locks up, steaming into turn one. His race kind of finished there, and he went on to retire in the end.
That was a big shame. I mean, I know at first I was like thinking, is that the other car's fault for pushing him off the track? But I mean, that's just racing.
That's racing.
Yeah, that's just what racing can
Weird
do
things
sometimes.
happen in racing.
When you get like that little patch of grass there, you know, you can go onto it. Most of the time they're fine, but this time he just got a bit unlucky, and yeah, just front wing came off. Then you also had was it Kubica's front wing as well? Because I think he made contact with someone. It might have been George Russell, his teammate, and then his whole front wing came off as well.
Yeah,
that's why.
There was a lot of debris on the first corner.
Yeah,
I think it was extremely close between the Ferraris as well, because I think Vettel didn't have a great start, and Leclerc was right on the outside, squeezed him on the curb, and Leclerc came back in, and I think he might have made contact with his tyre.
I think they did touch
just
slightly.
brush it.
Can
you imagine the headlines if Leclerc had just punched Vettel? He goes up into the wall. Everyone's like, "Oh, team orders." But we'll get started on team orders.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll move on to that.
Not happy about that again.
That is a controversial topic.
Well, I'm not going to be wearing Ferrari anytime soon.
With the Mercedes shirt on.
No team orders
Mercedes. I went very Dutch there.
All right, Sean Connery.
So in terms of the race, Bottas literally dominated the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean he won it from the first lap pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
the first corner was really important for him.
Yeah.
And he pulled out a gap of about 20 seconds or something, which
he won it by 22, I think it was in the end. It was
which against Lewis Hamilton is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I can't remember.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Can't remember the last time someone's pulled out a gap of 20 seconds on Hamilton.
Oh yeah, and like not just 20 seconds, but at the end where Lewis is pit or something, it's like 20 seconds consistently from like halfway through. He was there.
So Bottas storms home, takes the win. Hamilton comes back in second.
A good one too for the team. You know, that's what they're going for.
Absolutely.
That's what they're aiming for. It doesn't matter which way round it is, as long as they're getting the points.
Definitely a shock though to see Hamilton dominated.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just see the whole grid dominated. I think. I mean, Hamilton, especially because five-time champion, could be called one of the greatest drivers of all time. I would say that he is the greatest of all time.
Well, of course, you're going to say that with the Mercedes merch.
This is Rosberg.
Rosberg merch. I think the last person to probably, I wouldn't say Rosberg dominated Hamilton. I'd say he beat him fair and square.
Oh yeah, he beat him on
dominate Hamilton.
Consistency. Yeah, he won the championship because he was consistent. He got the podiums throughout the year, rather than Hamilton had a bit of some problems throughout the year.
Can you see Bottas building on this victory and taking the title?
Honestly, I don't see anyone doing like what happened with Hamilton and Rosberg again, because like we saw with Hamilton last year, when it comes after the summer break and even before the summer break, he just turns it on. Yeah, and I feel like he'd do it again. And while Mercedes obviously aren't going to do anything like Bottas slow it down, because Hamilton is going quicker than you, and like he can get more wins. Like if he's got more wins already, then they're not going to tell them to do this and that. But I feel like if it was to come down like with Rosberg again, I think Bottas would. He has a calmer head. He would probably understand much quicker than Rosberg did in the other years, and just be like, all right, I'll concede this victory.
Here's a stat for you: Lewis Hamilton, 8 poles at Melbourne, 6 in a row this last 6 years, and 1 victory in that time. 8 poles, 6 in a row, 1 victory.
It's not an impressive.
Where is it going wrong for Lewis? I think it might he might take a few races to warm up. I think
he does. He definitely does take a few races. So he's always sort of been like that, hasn't he? He's never started off. He's definitely one of the quickest drivers, but like qualifying, I'd say he's the best driver currently on the grid for qualifying. Yeah, on one lap. But in a race, he can be quick, but he's not always quick.
I think there was rumours, or Mercedes confirmed there was a hole or something in his floor, and a Ferrari fan did say, but it's probably where you're lifting the sandbags off, that he pulled a bit of bodywork off. So that might explain his 20-second gap, but 20 seconds in Formula One is
huge.
Unbelievable. It's just ridiculous, the amount of time that Bottas pulled out on him. Obviously we have Verstappen in third. He pulled a good move on Vettel. Ferrari weren't at the races. What do you make of that? They weren't there, fourth and fifth in the first race.
Yeah, they just it just wasn't a good outing for them at all. It was Vettel had the problems which they couldn't even figure out. Like, he came over the radio at one point, said he's lost a bit of power. Whereas like, how can we fix it? Or like, what's the problem? And they're like, we don't know. I don't know if they figured it out in the end or not, but yeah, he was basically gone then. But it was later on when Leclerc, going for the overtake, he gets close enough to overtake him, and then suddenly he backs off, and you're like, that's team orders right away there.
I think they didn't broadcast the team order radio message.
They didn't until after the race.
There definitely was a team order there. I think he said, like, am I allowed to battle him or something? And then they were like, no, hold position.
No, hold back, yeah.
Team orders in the first race.
I didn't like that at all.
Charles Leclerc from Monaco, his first race with Ferrari, they're using team orders in favour of Sebastian Vettel already.
Yeah, I hated that.
We have 20 races left in this season. They're using team orders in Melbourne. I think that might show you that there is a number one and number two driver
definitely.
there.
If it's not been clear enough for anyone in recent years with Kimi and that, it's clear now that Vettel is the number one driver at Ferrari. Like, it's so easy, it's so clear to see now.
And the Ferrari's finishing 58 seconds behind Mercedes, almost a minute behind Bottas.
Yeah.
When we look at pre-season testing, when Ferrari were dominant, a minute behind the race winner is unparalleled in F1.
It's a huge gap. You think about that 10 years ago, that's like the difference between the first place and last place.
Yeah. Like,
now that's first and fourth. Like, that is mad.
And Haas had an interesting weekend. Kevin Magnussen coming home in sixth. One of his best results in F1.
Yeah.
They had some issues, didn't they?
Some issues that
his teammate
might have been a bit reminiscent of last year's.
Yeah, I had a bit of deja vu. Watching this race was like watching, may as well put 2018 highlights on.
I was glad Magnussen managed to bring it home, but yeah, for Grosjean to have almost exactly the same problem as last year with both Haas's.
Was it the same wheel as well, or same side of the car?
I think so. Yeah, I think the same wheel front.
That's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Magnussen did come home in sixth. Good points for Haas.
Very good points for Haas. I reckon they can solidify themselves as the fourth best team. I reckon they might have the fourth best car, but the fifth best driver lineup. The Renault car might not be better than the Haas car, but their driver lineup, Hulk and Ricciardo.
They finished a lap behind. Hulkenberg finished in seventh place. Everyone else after Magnussen. So Bottas lapped everyone up until sixth place. But Albert Park, I think people will probably watch this and be like, oh, F1's boring, F1's, it's so predictable. It was the same last year in qualifying with Hamilton dominating, and he was 7 or 8 tenths quicker. And then Vettel still managed to win, and they had a quicker car last year. I think everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Ferrari had a quicker car than Mercedes.
At the start of the year, they had a much quicker car, yeah.
I think in terms of the rest of the pack, there's not a lot in it. I think you've got Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull. Obviously Mercedes at the top, Ferrari second, I'd say, and then Red Bull just behind. And then there's a huge gap. There's a considerable gap to the likes of Haas, Renault, Racing Point.
That's what I'm looking forward to. When the rules change, what is it, 2020 season?
Yeah, 2020 or 2021, I think.
I think they're introduced in 21. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. That's why I've been saying, everyone was, shocked, surprised with Ricciardo going to Renault. I think that's the best move because I reckon they'll be the team
Very
when the rules changed.
reminiscent of when Hamilton
With Merck,
moved to Mercedes.
Mm.
No one thought, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Mercedes are
what-
the fourth best team. And
It took
now,
a couple of years, but
I think he's bought into the program, Ricardo.
I think he's definitely. I think he's done exactly what Hamilton did, and I do think he's made the right decision, and he'll win a championship, Ricardo.
Eventually, we hope so. Funniest guy in F1 for sure.
Oh yeah, best personality in F1 though. Like best since I'd say since a long time ago.
Who? There's so many drivers that have gone through in
there's
years
not
gone by.
really. What's that? Hunt.
James Hunt.
James Hunt.
That was about
Jimmy
40 years, 50 years ago.
Right, but there's never been a personality like that.
I guess.
That's the thing. And then Ricardo's come along. If you were to mix like Ricardo and Hamilton were together, you'd make James Hunt. That's the thing, because you get the proper.
That's going to be the thumbnail. Ricardo plus Hamilton equals James Hunt.
You think about it, the way the personalities are, the way Ricardo is with the cameras and everything, and then Hamilton. Mate, what are you saying?
Sorry, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. Hamilton plus Ricardo.
Hamilton plus Ricardo makes James Hunt. Their personalities.
You've heard it here first. This is the expert opinion that people are watching this podcast for.
This is why you're watching the podcast. This is why you're sat there watching it right now.
Our cameraman has his head in his hands. He can't believe what he's listening to.
He can.
Anyway.
He's listening because he...
But I know that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
You add Ricardo...
Doesn't even watch F1, knows that is absolute horseshit.
James Hunt is.
Yeah, of course, everyone knows James Hunt. And you know that he was the party animal. You came up half drunk.
Have you watched Rush?
Of course,
the film Rush. Exactly. If you've watched the film Rush, you know exactly who James Hunt is.
Okay, back then as well, he would show up like hungover from the night before when he's had a drink. They can't do that nowadays. But if you think like, let's say like, the Hamilton when everyone was on his ass about, when everyone was on him.
We can swear.
When everyone was on Hamilton for partying too much and all that. Partying too much. He didn't do anything. He's innocent. Yeah, that personality, and then with the way Ricardo is, with the media and everything, put those two together, and you're making James. That's the way James Hunt was.
Interesting.
It's true.
With Verstappen, first Honda podium since 2008 at Silverstone, British Grand Prix. What do you make of Honda's progress? McLaren dropped Honda in 2018. The start of 2018, they had Renault engines, they still do now. Toro Rosso picked up Honda engines last year. Yeah. They've got significantly better, and now they're on the podium, Honda. So a McLaren looking a bit stupid with egg on their face.
I think the problem with that partnership is it wasn't the Honda, it was McLaren, because Honda are supplying probably a perfectly good engine, as Toro Rosso are showing. They haven't had that many problems. It's just once McLaren would get it, it's like they just wouldn't work on it enough, or like put in the effort to check enough things to make sure that it's going to be all right. So that's why they broke down so much. They just took it and then didn't do much else with it.
I think McLaren are crap.
You'll get it. I trust you. Just think James Hunt, Ricardo, Lewis Hamilton, same person. You don't have him.
So your driver of the day.
My driver of the day.
There were several candidates. We haven't mentioned Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll qualified in 16th, got knocked out in Q1, come home in 9th.
I think that was pretty impressive, but you also consider there were the 3 retirements in front of him. Ricardo wasn't in front of him, but who retired from the race? There was Ricardo Giovinazzi in the end, did he?
Ricardo, Carlos Sainz and Grosjean with the wheel problem. Williams were lapped 3 times. Kubica was lapped 3 times, George Russell twice. So there was a bit of a train behind Giovinazzi at one point.
Yeah,
in the Alfa Romeo. He was
weird
very strategy.
Slow. Yeah.
He was staying out for 30 or something laps, just ruining Lando Norris's race. He ruined Perez. I think Albon on his debut for Toro Rosso was caught up in that as well. And then obviously Stroll, I think, jumped him at the start. And Kvyat rounding off the points with Raikkonen also in 8th. So that is the top 10. My driver of the day, it's hard to look past Bottas. In my opinion. He dominated the whole field. This is a Bottas we haven't seen before. We haven't seen Bottas.
In every aspect, like
He is confident.
Yeah.
He dominates. He was very close in qualifying, but as we've spoken, Hamilton's probably the best of all. He's the greatest of all time in
for one
qualifying.
lap, yeah. Bottas, he's come with a whole new look. He's like whole new personality.
It's the beard. I think it's the beard.
and he's growing out his hair, and
Yeah.
he's flying. now.
Last year with Vettel it was the aerodynamics, but this year it's the beardo. It's the beardo dynamics with Bottas.
Yeah, it is just like. It's just come out of nowhere. Like he was quick with the Williams, and then he came to Mercedes, and it's just sort of like he was just the wingman to Hamilton. Now, like he's like, well, I shouldn't be. I don't have to be.
And he swore on the radio. I think he said, "To whom it may concern," off basically.
How about that? To whom it may concern you.
That's definitely James. He said
That's
it to
definitely
James.
that was a shade of James Hunt coming out there.
Yeah.
Bottas.
That was some James Hunt there. Yeah, I'm
And,
telling you, James, Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton,
Or did you
sprinkling
mean-
of Bottas.
Or did you mean James as in
I meant James.
Valtteri as James?
Yeah. But it can be James Hunt in there.
Well,
that could be
I think there was a bit of
that.
James Hunt, but
It's
also
James Hunt-esque, but yeah, it's
that was definitely aimed at the Mercedes
Yeah.
management. I think
the amount of times last year, like Valtteri, it's James.
the memes last year.
man.
There's
Just-
too many memes.
There are too many of that.
But I'm glad for Valtteri. I think people like him.
Yeah.
He's a more likable character than some drivers.
Especially for like, you know, coming from Finland, same as Kimi Räikkönen, he does have the same sort of personality, but he's, especially now, like because you need to have like this essence of, you know, sort of arrogance in Formula One.
Little side note, Ted Kravitz, where is he? This is the TED Talk section. Where is Ted Kravitz? Ted Kravitz, the pit lane reporter for Sky Sports F1, has seemingly vanished off the face of the earth.
I mean,
Where is he?
He was gone, and then he came back because he was gone completely, and that's when it first came up. Like, where's Ted? And then Sky were like, "Oh no, yeah, we found him." So they put him back. They wrote him in that he's going to be there as one of the analysts. And then where is he at Albert Park? Nowhere. He's just not there at all.
There's Karen Chandok. They've got a lot of new recruits in Sky. Karen Chandok's one of them. What did you make of him? I think he does a good job, but he could be a scapegoat because Ted's not there.
Yeah, I mean, he knows his stuff. It's like Paul di Resta. You know, they were both drivers, albeit not great ones when they were driving in Formula One, but they were in it. And as everyone knows, being a Formula One driver is a very exclusive club. So you are some of the best drivers in the world. So even the worst driver is much better than a normal person.
Karen Chandok used to race for HRT, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Hispania racing team or something. I think they ran out of money.
Yeah,
very
that was
soon.
it. Yeah, very, very
They were
quickly.
a terrible team. I think they might have
think-
been worse than Williams this year.
I think they could probably be called the worst team of all time, along with the catering.
HRT, you are the worst team in Formula One
I
history.
think you can say
That is
that.
an accolade.
That is, you can have that. We'll give you that award. On this little podcast, you can have that award.
Award ceremony, worst team in F1 history.
HRT.
HRT. Thank you very much. You can come to Wembley and pick up your award.
You got lucky, Caterham. You're close.
Caterham.
You're very
Williams.
close.
I think Williams are coming
Williams
close.
are very close as well. Current Williams, you might get there by summer.
The runners-up award goes to Caterham and Williams joint. Yeah, Ted Kravitz
I
disappeared.
hope he comes back.
We hope he comes back, but also Will Buxton, great guy, met him in Mexico. He tweeted out the other day, he's been tweeting GIFs of Ted, the film, where the teddy bear Ted tweets.
It's just the way you went, I met him in Mexico. As if like people know why that one time in Mexico.
Mate, one time in Mexico.
He just keeps dropping it though every once
Did you
in a
know?
while.
No,
like
can we
he
just
said
say-
earlier. No, he just keeps
I'm not
dropping
saying
it.
that on
It's
purpose.
it's
I'm
like,
just dropping it in. Just,
one night in Mexico, did it all. It was fantastic. Did it up big in Mexico, Cancun, fantastic.
didn't go to Cancun. Did not. I think Cancun's the other side of
I
Mexico.
think so.
So casually
He
said
just
it.
Well, I
he
went
drops
to-
it. It's like name dropping, but I went to Mexico.
Well, yeah, but Will Buxton. This is specifically about F1.
People are sat at home right now thinking, why the did he meet him in Mexico?
Look,
Are they mates or something?
Right,
from
next
the four
episode.
people, from the four people who are watching, 2 of them are my parents, 2 are your parents. Your parents will understand. My parents won't. So they'll be like, your parents will be like, oh, Mexico. My parents will be like, all right, drop in Mexico, like you can afford it.
We'll cut that out. You know, we'll probably
Keep
end
it
up
for
leaving
the
this in.
bloopers.
We'll probably leaving this in.
Well, just leave it all in at this point. Let's just.
We've got to the
literally
point
just
where
upload
everything's
everything.
staying in.
No.
No, come on, let's just put it all in. No. What were we on? Ted. Ted, come back. Where are you, Ted? Please, not Ted Bundy. Although that film, Zac Efron, got him spot on. He's looking good in that. Zac Efron, he looks just like Ted Bundy. Just saying. That is completely off topic.
This was an F1 podcast. It went to Cancun and now it's gone to Zac Efron.
Look, at the end of the day, Adam, we're hiring you for one thing here, and you're not doing it well.
One job.
You have one job here, and you've just been sitting down there. 8 years. Why should we do a TED Talk? Where the hell's TED?
This is awful.
I think this is the best sort of podcast, and it's just
TED Talk.
Terrible.
So TED Talk, Ted Kravitz, we miss you. But as I said, Will Buxton may or may not have met him in Mexico. We'll brush over that. If you haven't seen the Racer Mexico video, please go and check it out. It's a shameless plug. TED Talk, Ted Kravitz. There's a good meme I sent to you yesterday saying missing person, Ted Kravitz, age, late 20s. I'll put it up here.
late
20s. Answers to the name Lenny.
Lenny.
Don't think they're related, but
Definitely
he does
not,
probably respond to the name Lenny.
He probably will.
So that is coming towards the end, thank God. Predictions for Bahrain. Normally, this is Bottas's hunting ground. He got pole there last year, probably should have won, actually. Should have dive bombed it on Ricciardo. He should have dive bombed it like Ricciardo on Vettel. I think Hamilton's going to bounce back, but I also think Ferrari will bounce back. So my prediction is that it might be a Hamilton or a Bottas pole. I think Vettel will make the podium at least. I don't think Charles Leclerc will be on the podium through team orders.
I think this track is more suited for the Mercedes because there's a lot more straights. Obviously, it's quicker in a straight line. The corners aren't as... I mean, some corners are pretty quick, which helps the Red Bull as well, so they might come into play. But I think the first 3 races of the year are very much Mercedes sort of races. Like
China after Bahrain, which is the 1000th Grand Prix in history.
Oh yeah,
China.
Of course.
I'm not sure if they're going to do anything for it.
They should. They'll probably do something. Something big.
But yeah, please, if you're actually watching this and you've made it to the end of the podcast, congratulations.
You're going to win nothing. But
leave a comment of your predictions because I think it's going to be a Vettel victory.
I think Bottas will win it again. I think Bottas will get a second win.
And a point for fastest lap as well. Bottas obviously taking 26 points. 25 for the victory, 1 for the fastest lap. That could decide the championships.
That would be big. Imagine if that was in when Rosberg won it. I would
Oh yeah.
This
is just anti-Rosberg podcast. I actually quite like Rosberg.
I like him now.
Retired.
Yeah. I like him now. But I like how he's going to Formula E though. That's pretty good. Next
Is he
year.
doing Formula E?
The Mercedes are going to put a car in next year, and then he's going to be driving. Yeah.
Is he actually?
Yeah. I think
really?
So. I think so. Yeah. I'm not
a
making
lot
stuff
of
up.
Rubbish F1 drivers are going to Formula E.
I mean, that's what it's where it's at.
That's what Formula E is for.
Formula E is for. Well, that's all the rubbish. Like this is the end of the podcast. We're just chatting now.
No one's listening to this bit.
This is now turned into the one and only Formula E podcast. We have 5 minutes left.
So Lucas Di Grassi,
used to be in. Massa,
Verline,
Vern. You remember
Jean-Eric Verne?
Jean-Eric Verne. D'Ambrosio was in it for a little.
Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Buemi.
Sebastian Buemi.
And now Buemi does it all. He's like what Alonso was doing because he does the he's won because he's with Alonso in that team for
24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he won Le Mans. Buemi, I think Kobayashi. Kobayashi. That is a throwback.
That is. Oh my god. Who was the other Japanese guy before Kobayashi?
Me and my sister have this joke about a guy. It's called Yuji Ide. That was the Japanese guy. Looks like this. I'll put a picture up. He drove for Super Aguri in like 2008. And they might be the worst team ever. I think they.
No, we've handed it out already. HRT, you lose.
No, we've got loads of shit teams in
There
F1.
are some very bad teams.
The worst teams we have HRT, Marussia, Caterham, Williams 2017, 2018, 2019. Spiker. Do you remember Spiker?
They're very bad.
I think there was a guy, I can't remember, I think his name was Winkelhock. He was leading a race at some point. I think it was the German race where Hamilton spun off in like 2007. I think it was Marcus Winkelhock was his name. I might be wrong. I think it's him. I remember watching it. He was in a spiker and he led the race, and he wasn't even meant to be their driver. And he was leading a race. But there's some terrible teams.
Worst driver though of all time.
Maybe we should leave that to the next podcast. Worst driver ever. There's some
I know
candidates.
straight away, Jos Verstappen.
Jos Verstappen. Max, if you're watching, sorry.
I'm not.
Quickly, championship predictions. Top 3.
Top 3: Hamilton, Vettel, Bottas. I think Hamilton will do that.
You know, I wouldn't
Hamilton
disagree
will
with that. I probably would go Hamilton.
We'll pick it up, and then
I might say Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel.
I feel like Bottas will run out of steam halfway through after summer.
Whatever
Vettel.
happens.
I think Ferrari will have the big upgrades over the summer this year.
I think whatever happens, it's going to be an exciting year of F1. Young guns, new drivers, new engines, new teams, new regulations. It's going to be an interesting season. So Johnnie Vic, thank you very much for coming on. This has been an awful podcast that has gone way over time, and we've probably run out of time already, but thanks for watching. Might see you on the next one. Not sure if there's going to be another episode. Do you down to do another?
I'd be down to do another one, yeah. I've quite enjoyed this. I've quite enjoyed doing this, even if no one watches.
No one's watching. I think we should do a podcast where it's just waffling about non-F1 topics.
That's what I want to do, yeah.
This is basically what this podcast
That's
has
what's
been.
happened, but we're going to edit it down so that it looks like we've talked about F1 the whole time.
We will do.
And
Anyway,
that's your job.
thanks a lot for watching, and yeah.
You better come next time.
Next time, don't wear that Mercedes merch.
I'm going to wear this all the time.
That was terrible.
Wrap up Merc. Big up Merc.
I think we can cut now.
Was that terrible?
Yes,
I-
the ending was terrible.